Welcome to Your New America, friends, and I'm Your New Norman Rockwell, painting pictures of grown adults.
Welcome to the Marinade with Jason Earle. We have the great Micah Schnabel on our show today. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so honored to have Micah on our show, diving into the Marinade, and man, did he ever. If you haven't had a chance, go back and listen to our episodes with BJ Barham and Verlin Thompson. Both fantastic episodes, and both of them really gave us that deep dive and really talked about their creative process, but Micah might have gone deeper than any of them. I'm so grateful for his time. If you haven't checked him out before, go do it. Check out his work with the band Two Cow Garage, who've been doing it for a long time now. Go check out his solo records on his Bandcamp page, and then look for his first novel, which we talk about, coming out, called Hello, My Name is Henry. It's also the name of a song on his excellent new record, Your New Norman Rockwell. You hear the title track in the background right now. It's a fantastic record. It's definitely worth your time and money. Check out these two songs, and we'll play Hello, My Name is Henry and pretty much in its entirety at the end. But I highly recommend that you download all the Two Cow stuff. See when Micah's on tour. He's a singer, a songwriter, and a fantastic individual. Such a gentleman. Showed up right on time and ready to talk and ready to go to work. And we talk about that quite a bit during the show, how this guy is just a guy who hustles and does what he needs to do to get better at his craft. He was there with his life partner, Vanessa Speckman. She's a fantastic artist in her own right. Does really beautiful work with lettering and with leather and with all kinds of visual arts. So check her out on her Etsy page as well. Vanessa Speckman on social media. Man, so exciting to have Micah Schnabel in the Marinade. We sat down at Little Indies on Mills Avenue in Orlando. Before his set, he played a solo set, just him and a guitar, which is the kind of the best way I like to digest Micah. His songs are painful and beautiful, and this record is very important. It's very political in a very meaningful way. He's an incredibly thoughtful guy. I'm so grateful to have him. Welcome to the Marinade with Jason Earle. Micah Schnabel. So, all right, here's my introduction to Micah Schnabel, right? There was a guy, his name's Devin Stewart. He's a local, remember him? He opened that show, right, in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Probably 2010.
At Lucy's?
No, it was called The Covered Dish for a number of years. I think they call it High Dive now.
Oh, yeah.
Common Ground.
Yeah.
It might have been called Common Ground at the time.
Yep, that sounds right.
And I came to see him, frankly, because I just love his music.
Yeah.
And so I go, and he opens, and he just crushes it. It's amazing, right? It's just him and a guitar, and it's amazing, and I'm really excited. This is what I wanted. Yeah. And then he goes, you got to stick around. Micah Schnabel is amazing, it's talking you up, and I'm like, all right, I'm stick around. And you played this raucous set. It was so much fun. Just like foot stomping, and everybody was fired up about it, and just a really positive thing, which is something I wanted to kind of get deep with you on already, I guess. Let's dive in.
Let's jump in.
That you write these like painful songs, and I've read lots of things and heard you talk about sort of some of the pain that you feel and some of the things that you deal with. Mm-hmm. But meeting you here and then meeting you then, I met you after that show and you were amazing, like incredibly engaging and bright. You had this bright light about you. So do you ever think about that? Like, are you aware of that?
Yeah, I think because of writing these songs, like that's my therapy. That's my emotional release, that I can say these things and I don't have to carry them with me every single day. You know, it's kind of unloading the backpack,
right?
Playing these shows, and part of the addiction of chasing that next high. It's all, I've found a way to make a career out of that. In a healthy way, you know, that I just constantly chasing the next high, booking the next show, trying to get better, and then also the emotional release of these songs, of songs in general, are my way of communicating with the world, in a way that it's hard to communicate in an everyday conversation, even with good friends. It's hard to break through into the things that we all really want to talk about, the things we actually have to say. Yeah, that's my opportunity to do that for 45 minutes a day. So that keeps me mentally okay. Right.
Well, yeah. Okay. Okay is all we could really hope for, I suppose. I know you're a baseball fan. Yeah. Right. And you grew up playing ball.
Yeah.
Right. Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was this thing that happened
when it was kind of, everybody has their end.
Mm-hmm.
And my end was, it sounds like pretty similar to yours, where I just wasn't big enough. It just wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah.
And mine came, and it was tough, man.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it was. I think that's what music was kind of like. I had set myself up for the heartbreak, I guess, because I got into music around 14 or so, and I was, playing baseball in school, and still taking it. I took it seriously, like I take music, like probably way too seriously, and so I took it really. It was everything. It was 100% for me.
Yeah.
Then I saw that turn starting to happen, and I grew up in rural Ohio, small farm town, playing against these kids where, and I was okay. I was, decent in that arena, but I wasn't going any further than that, and I hated school. So I think I didn't even know that I was doing it, but I was kind of making the mental switch over to music,
Right.
and finding a new path for myself. But yeah, I mean, I remember playing the last game of last game of competitive baseball that I would ever play, and like I cried for days about it. Like it had been my entire life up until that point. I think I was lucky to have. I know I was lucky to have music there to pour myself into, and that's what I've done. I realize I'm very fortunate at this point in my life. I've only ever had two things that I've ever wanted to do with my life, is be a professional baseball player. And when I realized that wasn't going to happen, like I wanted to be a musician, songwriter, and here I am.
There's like this interesting thing about musicians, especially singer-songwriter type musicians, and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a parallel there, or is
I
that just
think so.
coincidence?
I mean, it's a slow, thoughtful game. It's like chess,
Yeah.
Like it's not football. It's not this constant smash and bash. It's it's a chess match. A lot of it. Obviously there's physical ability and talent all in there, but there's also the suicide squeeze and hit and runs, and there's a constant chess match to it. So it is kind of a thinking person's game,
Yeah.
So that you're right. I've never thought about that, but I think it does translate a little bit over to that. It's slow and thoughtful.
Right. That's a great point. What are do you follow the professional game very much, or did you?
I don't. As soon as I was done playing, I couldn't.
So you did when you were a kid, then?
Yeah.
All right. So that's great, because all right, let's have this conversation then.
Yeah.
Who are the most, when growing up, baseball heroes?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think are the most? This show's about creativity. Who are the most creative baseball players?
Creative baseball players. Ozzie Smith, probably.
That's a good one.
I mean, he was so smooth, and it was almost art.
Yeah.
And like obviously they're like the backflips and stuff, but he played the game differently, and like Gary. Shane's gonna hate me for forgetting his last name. San Diego Padres, the hitter.
Sheffield.
No.
Gaetti.
Oh, it's killing me. It's escaping me. But he was also poetic with a bat. Tony Gwynn also. Tony Gwynn.
Tony's a good one.
Tony Gwynn was an art. Hitting was an art form to him.
Yeah.
It was a thing of beauty to watch him do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as like creative baseball players, I think that was guys that Ozzie Smith was unbelievably talented, but I believe he was short, and Tony Gwynn was just a short guy.
Yeah.
But they found ways, they found their niche, and they worked it, and they made an art of this thing that the one thing that they could do really well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you also just named two guys that this came up in my conversation with BJ Barham last week, was that those guys you just named are known for their work ethic.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's got to be a parallel there.
That's funny. I've never thought about that before, but that's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
Because I wonder if you think about other creative types, or I mean just creativity in general. You're a reader, right? You're a pretty avid reader.
Yeah.
It seems like take Hemingway for example, right? Are you a Hemingway fan at all?
Yes.
Okay, so I think about he was known for his partying and some of his exploits, but he was also known for getting his ass up every morning
and going to work. Right.
And he would work until he was done, and then he would go get drunk and do everything else.
Exactly.
That he would then get up and write about the next morning.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something there too. What does your process look like?
I'm the wake up and work. I treat it like a job. Like when I'm at home, I'm up at 10. I'm sitting at the desk by 11 or noon, and I work throughout the day. I work until 11 o'clock at night, and then usually around 11, my partner Vanessa, we live together, and she's an artist also. So we work throughout the day. We wake up, we work, and we usually knock off around 11 o'clock at night, and wake up and do it all over again. But it's every single day. It's every single day. I sit down and at the desk, and I read and I write and I throw things away all day long.
Really?
Yeah.
Throw things away. What do you mean by that?
I write poorly, allow myself to write poorly, and throw it away.
That's
but
great.
It's just the getting up, it's sitting down at the desk and doing the work, and I've watched myself get better because of it.
Yeah.
And that just makes me want to get home and sit back down at the desk and work through the bad stuff and get to the good, get to the stuff that I'm excited about. And that's my process, is every single day. And I know a lot of people don't work that way, but again, like, there are a lot of people that are way more talented than I am. For me to be even in this game, the little bit that I am, like, that's how I like to work, and that's how I feel good about myself,
Yeah. Well, it seems like a lot of people that I talk to, there's a period of their life where they are kind of sitting around waiting for inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And
I used to work that way.
It's like a less fertile time, it seems like, right?
I think when you're young, that's just how it kind of works. I didn't think of it as a job, as, of work ethic and stuff like that. But, so yeah, when you're young, I don't think you think about that. You just are excited to play your songs, and you get an idea and you go try and execute it, and I worked that way for a long time. But when writing in general became a career, like, I realized that I couldn't just sit around waiting for this, light bulb to go off. If I wanted to start really getting things done, I had to sit down and do the work. And the more I've dedicated myself to it, the better the writing has gotten, and the better the music has gotten, and the work overall. Just the more I allow myself to, like, wake up every day and fail.
Yeah.
Write 1,000 words and throw them in the recycling bin, and start again tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's ever a wasted time. Even if you sit down and write garbage all week, all month, every poor thing that you write, you're closer to something better. Is how I view it. So, like, get the bad stuff down and out of the way.
Yeah.
And be willing to throw it away.
Well, there's a lot you got to get out of your ego then.
Yeah, it beats you down, like,
yeah,
big time. I just finished my first novel that's coming out in the fall, and, like, that was a process.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
But when I sent off the original I wrote it on a friggin' typewriter. So I sent off the manuscript to the editor and the publisher. He went through his initial thing and then sent it back to me probably 6 months later, and 70% of it I threw away.
Wow.
After 6 months of, going back and looking at it, and I just go back and start anew and get back to the desk and start working again. Take that little bit of good stuff you got and start getting better, So
what's it about?
Well, there's a song on the new record called "Hello, My Name Is Henry," and that's going to be the title of the book, I believe, also. And that song actually came from the start of the novel. So I started that, and I just kind of realized, I was like, man, I think this could be a song also. So it's about growing up in nowhere America, basically growing up in small town rural America, and the lack of opportunity that comes to those people,
Yeah.
to any person growing up in those areas. There's no opportunity, there's no money, the manufacturing left. And it's the same story as in an urban area. It's the money leaves, and everybody gets left behind. So yeah, it's about the lack of opportunity, and how people don't understand that there are kids that grew up their entire lives who never travel 30 miles away from the place that they grew up, because it's just never been an opportunity.
Right.
So I guess shining a light on that, and just how poverty is passed down generation to generation to generation. And these people aren't lazy, they're not stupid, they have access to nothing.
Right.
So yeah, That's what it's about.
How uplifting.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that you wrote a book about that. I love the new record.
Thank you.
But it's very different, I feel like, than a lot of other stuff. So
It
you feel
is.
that too. You're very aware of that.
It was totally accidental.
Yeah.
It came as the writing process changed. When I
Sure.
started down just working every day, I got really frustrated with trying to work because I always wrote the music first and then tried to write lyrics to it, and you're searching for that next rhyme. And I've always felt like I sacrificed the story I was trying to tell for a rhyme, and I got really tired of that. And I'm not good at it. Like, there are people that are amazing at it, but I felt like I was trying to play a game that I wasn't even in the same ballpark as other people that are just great at it. You know, Jason Isbell can sit down and he can do that.
Yeah.
I can't play that game, you know, against not that it's against, but like
Sure.
I can't play in that same arena, you know. So I really feel like I just kind of found my voice and started just saying it, you know. And there's no tap dancing on this record. Like, everything is straightforward and straight to it, saying what I want to say. And I feel like I tell the story, and that feels really, really good, singing these songs every night. And I don't feel like I sacrificed anything for a rhyme or whatever. Like, I told the story. Whether it's good or it's bad, I don't know. But I know I feel good about the work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There has to be, you just mentioned it, there has to be that inkling of, like, trying to keep up with an Isbell or, whoever that songwriter is that you respect. But there's also, like, a really unhealthy thing there, right? Where, like, you got to do you.
Yeah.
And what you did on this record is beautiful. It's very different from that, from what Isbell does, for example, or what Sturgill Simpson does, But what you did is beautiful, and
thank you.
And it is different, like it doesn't sound like your other stuff. Yeah. And I love that. I love your other stuff, but I love that this is a different direction.
That makes me really happy. It was a scary jump to this new place, but like I said, it felt natural. But yeah, I got locked in that box of comparing myself to other songwriters for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was, but that's what everybody else around me was doing. So I guess I just got caught in that mindset of comparing, like, well, this person is doing this and this person is doing that. And I think I know some of the worst songs I've written in my career are because I was like, I didn't know if I even knew that I was doing it, but I was like trying to emulate or trying to be a part of something in a really unhealthy, unartistic way. And I see that now. It's glaringly obvious, and I tried to just not play those songs anymore because I don't feel good about them.
Interesting.
But
well, that's okay. Let's get there though, because there's probably somebody out there, maybe somebody coming tonight, who is obsessed with that song, whatever that song is. So how do you navigate that?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm 35 years old, and I feel like am just starting to find myself and my voice, and I think that's the hardest thing. A million people have said it, but I think it's the hardest thing for an artist is to find your own voice. Yeah. And it's taken me, I started writing songs when I was 16, 17 years old. I'm 35 now, and I feel like I'm just starting to, like, creep in to find out what my voice sounds like. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have any advice. Advice is for fools. That's what
Well, I mean, I would assume you'd play it if somebody wanted it,
Oh, of course. I mean, in a general, helpful way. But I think it just goes back to doing the work, trying to find yourself. Find that voice that is specifically yours. It's funny. Like, there are people that a song can pop on, and just from you can hear the sound of their hands, you can tell who's, like, playing guitar. And it's that same kind of thing. Like, there are words that you can read that if you just read them on a blank page, you would know who wrote them. And that's the goal, is to find your own voice. Just keep sitting down and doing the work. Some people find it, some people it comes really easy to them. That didn't. Again, with the work ethic, like, finding my own voice did not come easy to me. I'm still working at it.
Did you have like that? I don't want to get cliche, and like you're from rural Ohio, and so maybe there's that hard Scrabble in you, but maybe that is the real thing. Like, did you have that always, the work ethic, or is that something you had to develop?
At the things that I loved. Yeah. Like I said, like, it's old, but it's that's only ever been baseball and music.
Yeah.
But I work it doesn't even feel like work to me because I love it. And I look like, I think about it every day. Like I go to bed looking forward to waking up the next day and going to work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I'm very fortunate in that aspect. But so I guess I've always had it, but only for the things that I love. I've never really been willing to I was never a good worker at the pizza place or anything like that. Like I was never much of an employee for anybody else, but for myself and the things that I care about, I'm all in.
Yeah. Well, I'm 36, so I'm right there with you.
Right.
And for me, around me, I had a lot of good examples of people who worked really hard and just worked at whatever that thing was.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm from small town Florida, which probably ain't a whole lot different from small town
Probably
Ohio.
not.
I'm from Ocala.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think we drove through there yesterday, going from Jacksonville to
Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would we have gone through there?
You would have probably could have.
Okay.
Yeah.
We took like a back road.
Yeah, that was probably the way to do it. Yeah. It's one of those mid-sized towns.
Okay.
It's one of those towns that has a small town attitude, but is a little bit bigger.
Right.
200,000 people in the whole county,
dang.
I guess. No, the city's not that big.
Okay, gotcha.
45,000 maybe.
Okay.
But people act like they're in, this in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But we got a target,
Oh, man, you got a target.
Yeah, we're big time.
Yeah. That's
We're
totally
not
big time.
cosmopolitan.
Yeah. We had Tractor Farm Supply. Or whatever.
Yeah, we got one of those too.
Yeah.
Keep up. There is a weird, I didn't mean to go here, but there is a weird Ohio, Florida parallel. The rest of the country seems to look at us like a bunch of idiots. Do you feel that in Ohio? Believe me, we look at you that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, traveling like we do, everybody's like, where are you from? I'm like, Ohio. They're like, oh, sorry. I'm like, well, dang.
But people from Ohio are intensely proud of being from Ohio too, though.
Well, that's weird. It's a weird thing to be proud of the place that you're from. We can get into that if you want.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's part of what has brought us into this situation that we're in right now, is people being proud of a place they just happen to be born into, which
where do you think that comes
accidentally just quoted myself on there, but I didn't mean to.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think it's beaten into us from the second. I mean, we had to say the Pledge of Allegiance when we were in kindergarten, and if you take a step back, if you were to show little children doing that, saying their great prayer to the great sky leader, in school, and if that was North Korea, Americans would look at it and be like, oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
But they send their children to school every single day to go do it,
To a symbol.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to the flag. It's
Yeah.
not to individuality and
right.
freedom
or
of
to
speech.
my fellow, or the humans living here right next to me. No, it's to this flag that, is a representation of ideas that, anyway, yeah.
Anyway, because your whole record seems to be about that.
Yeah.
This new one.
I mean, absolutely drives me crazy that, these people are somehow able to separate, send their children to these schools and say the prayers and, and pledge their allegiance to this flag, and then in the same breath vote to basically kill their fellow human beings, and their neighbors.
Yeah.
They would go cast a vote that will literally kill some of their neighbors.
Yeah.
Their neighbors will die because of the big rural king that's in charge now.
Yeah.
And I think it's cognitive dissonance. Is that where it's they can be good people, but then somehow there's this complete disconnect.
Yeah.
Between it's just completely gone. They're just willing to sacrifice that, and as long as it's not them, there's this weird separation to it. And I think a lot of it starts with pledging your allegiance to a flag, a place that you have no connection to.
Right.
You were just born there.
Just
It's a
lucky.
It's just an accident,
Lucky or unlucky, depending on where you were born in that place.
Exactly. And then we
Yeah.
judge people by it. It's gross. It's gross,
Yeah.
immature behavior.
Did you have a sense of that when you were younger?
Yeah. And I think that got me into a lot of trouble because I never wanted to be a part of that, saying the Pledge of Allegiance to a flag. And I grew up going to Catholic school, having to say a prayer before school it was ludicrous,
Yeah.
And I pointed that out as a child, and, that just gets you in trouble. Now you're the trouble kid in detention because you're like, this is not.
Because you're questioning things?
Right.
That's
yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, to go on a quick tangent, they send you in you're going to Catholic school, they send you in second grade to go confess your hell-worthy sins as a I don't know how old you are in second grade, but that's the first communion there and all that jazz, or first confession. And I remember them telling you just like, I was like, well, I don't know if I've created or I've done any hell-worthy sinning, you know? And they're like, well, just make something up. Well,
That's crazy.
it is completely insane. And I think if people take a step back to actually look at what it is, they would agree. Sorry, now I'm just ranting.
No, I love it. And while we're there, since we're there, what about how about spirituality or religion or whatever, and its role in your life? Is there a space there, for you, or what does that look like?
I mean, it's. I think it's poisoned. It's poisoned people so deeply. It's caused so much destruction. Every religion, like, it may have had a place in time, but that time is gone. And now it's poisoned the well so deeply that we're still paying for it. And the fact that these churches are still standing and people are still going to them just frustrates me.
But there's something so passionate, and there's got to be a connection in your music. There's something so deep there. So is there not that it's religious necessarily, or maybe music is my religion, kind of a cliche sounding thing,
right?
But is there some sort of something to that? Is there a connection there in terms of maybe not religion but spirituality of some sort, or some sense of?
I don't think I believe in spirituality. I don't believe in a soul. I don't believe, like, that's just not scientifically how a human being is made.
Right.
I think our brains are amazing machines. Like, it's unbelievable that you and I can sit here talking into these microphones, and it's going into this little computer, and this
hopefully
but these are the things that the human brain can do, and it's so powerful. I think the hardest thing for a human being to do is look at themselves and dig deep and think about why, what problems am I creating in my life that are stemming from how I was raised, and how my parents were raised. And I guess that's how I look at it. It's like, because I can see the poisonous things that I have done and the problems I've created for myself in my life, how these things were passed down to me, and how I couldn't wrap my head around them and didn't pay attention to them, and fell into a lot of the traps that my previous ancestors had. And I don't think people like to look that deeply into it. They'd rather just say, well, God is good and he'll take care of it. It's like, well, that's a ridiculous notion, and it's unhealthy. It's super unhealthy.
Right.
And it's unfair to children, because it's setting them up for a fall.
Man, that's such a great
for
point.
the same struggles, Yeah.
Well, and it comes back to what you said earlier about the pledge, and the fact that if you're indoctrinated as a kid, kids don't have, they're asking you to confess your sins when you were in school. Right. Kids don't have enough sense of themselves or the greater world around them to truly dissect all of those big things.
Yeah.
So they're leaning on adults, and if adults are saying, like, it's all good, this thing in the sky is going to fix it. This symbol is going to fix it.
As long as you're good, whatever the good
whatever
means.
that is.
Right.
That I don't have any clue on.
Right. And then I remember, like, thinking, like, if something bad happened, what had I done wrong to cause something bad to happen?
Oh, I still deal with it.
I
deal with it every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We call it my partner and I call it we call it the guilties.
Yeah.
The fucking guilties, man.
It eats me up to this day. I'm still fighting it. And I notice myself, like, thinking and like judging other people by something, and I'm like, well, why am I thinking that?
Yeah.
Why am I thinking that about this person? And I'm like, oh, because I'm completely insecure about this thing and this thing, and I'm judging this other person because then I feel better about it, and it's just that Catholic guilt wrapping itself.
Yeah. I grew up Baptist, and a lot of the same kind of thing. But where, like, if I go out and I'll have a handful of beers and everyone was having a good time, and no one really gave a damn about, the fact that I spoke a little loudly or whatever. Like, no one really gave a fuck. But I wake up in the morning.
And it's all that you can hear.
Is
your voice. That one thing that you said too loudly. Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It happens.
Got a pocket full of those right now.
Yeah, and I'm 36. Like, grow up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably do it tonight.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to wake up
constant
tomorrow
struggle.
and I'm going to
I know.
feel like an idiot.
It's another part of the reason I quit drinking before I play. Like
Ah.
even at shows, because like I would hear like live recordings of something I would say on a microphone. I'd just be like, oh man.
Well, it's amazing how
That's-
like you forgive yourself for all the stupid shit you do sober. I could do anything sober, you know, be a complete asshole, and I feel like, well, at least I wasn't drinking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It haunts me every single day.
Yeah.
I forget. There was something right before we left the hotel. I was getting coffee from the guy, and I said thank you, but I think I said it in like a weird way where he thought maybe I was being mean, and I hope not. So I went back and tipped him more.
Yep.
And then like I was like, oh, he's gonna think I'm a total ass now. I just thank you came out the wrong way. And I don't.
Yep.
He was probably like, not, you know, he's not sitting there thinking about it right now.
He doesn't give
But
a
I
damn
am.
about you.
Yeah.
He doesn't care at all. He sold you a coffee and it was great
Right.
for him. He got the money that he needed, and that
Right.
was it. He's not
Yeah.
looking for some greater fulfillment from you.
Yeah, I know. I'm
But
still worried about it.
I know. I'm going to worry about it too. Like now I'm worried about your situation, and it's also ridiculous. Oh, man. I think I asked you just about all those big things that I wanted to ask you. Now,
Cool.
the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was just sort of like being a touring musician for so long.
Mhm.
You've been on the road with Tucal, what, 50? How long?
Tucal turns 16 in September.
16.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually, to think about it now.
Yeah. So 16 years, you've probably experienced a lot of things. What have you learned about relationships with people in that time? Just generally.
That's a big one, big
Yeah.
general.
Or if you need to narrow it down.
No, I think the biggest one, Shane Sweeney
Yeah.
from Tucal. I think we found this kind of at the same time, but it's however much you're putting up with somebody else, they're also putting up with you. So like never forget that. No matter
Wow.
how frustrated you are with somebody in the van or somebody at the club or whatever, like no matter how much you think you're, being this great person, they're
Yeah.
putting up with you too, They keep that in mind and just try to stay empathetic and
Wow.
at
That's
all
wonderful.
times,
Sure.
But
With the avid reader that you are, what are you reading right now?
right now I'm reading a book called Knockout. And I
Mm.
forget, it's a book of short stories. It is fantastic, and I feel
Nice.
terrible. I can't remember the guy's name right now.
Oh,
But yeah. Oh, it's
that's
gonna
okay.
bug
You
me.
can look it up later, and I'll add it to.
yeah.
I'll add it in there to the end of this or
Yeah.
whatever.
How about you? What are you reading?
I just finished Cormac McCarthy's. Wow, why can't I think of the name of the book that I just spent 2 months reading? I brought it with me in case you hadn't read it. I was gonna give it to you.
Oh.
I actually brought a few of my favorites with me. Oh, Blood Meridian.
Oh, Blood Meridian.
You
Little
read it?
Uplifting joint.
Yeah.
I did, but it's been a couple years
Because
ago now.
when you were talking about when you see something written, and you can kind of that voice comes through.
Mhm.
He's such a perfect example, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where like Cormac McCarthy could write on a bathroom wall and be like, "Oh, he was here."
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's pretty cool. That's some pretty dark stuff for the bathroom, man.
It's so fucked up, man. Everything he writes is so deep. Yeah, it was hard to read because you don't want, when I'm consuming something that good, because he's
Mhm.
that good, I don't want to miss anything.
Right.
So like if I'm tired or if
Right.
I'm hungover or if I'm not in the right frame of mind for some
Mhm.
reason, I don't pick that thing up.
Right,
So it ends
right.
up taking forever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And I feel
Yeah.
like with nonfiction, I can just read it, you
Mhm.
know? But if it's really good fiction, it takes me forever.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I did Infinite Jest this winter, and dang,
That's on
That's-
my list.
it's it's an intense piece of like work,
Yeah.
and you have to. It takes a lot of effort,
Yeah.
But that's one that I'm gonna have to do that like 10 times until I even get probably a 10th of it. You could read and reread that book for the rest of your life and get more and more from it.
Right.
But
Well, live in some of those books that you can just live in.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
I think of, Ulysses. Is that one
Oh.
that like I never got through it, but
I didn't either.
But he
I've
said
never got
like, I want you to live in this book.
Right.
Basically, he kind of intentionally wrote it so that
Right.
you were going to spend forever in it.
right, it's gonna be on your bedstand or kitchen table with a bookmark halfway through for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right now I'm reading, to go back to your original question, it's a book about security. It's about just sort of like our sense of security as a society.
Oh, okay.
And it's a guy who is an expert in security. And so just this sense of like everything from walking into a public place, a mall or something, to flying, to, who has an agenda and what does that agenda look like, and are we truly safer because we have to take our shoes off?
Right. Right.
So it's kind of interesting, but it's just sort of, it's a kind of book that just parrots back things that I already believe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not really making me any better.
Right.
It's
So
just
you kind of
making
feel
me
good
go
about yourself.
Yeah. Like, I'm right.
I am. Yeah, I am pretty good. All right.
I'm so aware and awake.
Yeah.
I found myself doing a lot of that, man. I consume, NPR, and I consume.
Same here. It was playing when I drove up.
It's like all these motherfuckers agree with me. I don't.
Right.
I'm not getting any
so
better.
they bring the right wing interview on, and then I just start screaming. But yeah. That's a big one to break. And I was having a conversation with a friend last night about that, but I'm working really hard to find empathy for rural America right now, and it's so hard. But it's the most important. Empathy is the most important thing, and listening to other people's stories and where they're coming from, and that's the biggest challenge, just to get outside of that bubble and hear the other ideas.
Right. I'm looking at this because you said something. There's a lyric, I think it's on Jazz and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, where you say, "I'm a product of your rural slums."
Oh, the New Norman Rockwell. Yeah.
Oh my
For
God.
the new rural slums, which is in America, which people aren't going to want to call it, but I mean, that's what, the opioid epidemic has ravaged these places. I had 142 kids in my graduating class, and like over 40 of them have died.
Oh my God.
It's completely ravaged an entire generation in America, and we're still not willing to look at it or deal with it. You know, we just want to put everybody in prison and think but you're going to have an entire generation in prison.
Yeah.
Of every human, and it happened. It's happened in every generation, not every generation, but it happened with crack in New York City.
Sure.
And they put an entire generation of African American men in prison.
Yeah.
It's not how things, you know what I mean?
Sure.
They just keep making these same mistakes, and these old white guys just keep making the same decisions that poison the people that have less money than them. And here we are, and now they're ready to pass this healthcare bill that, if it goes through, poor people will die, and they'll start dying quickly and faster, and they can put up more Starbucks with, $3,000 a month condos on top of them, and I don't know where poor people go from that. But I'm on another tangent. I forget. Oh, the opioid epidemic. Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to get into white privilege in a second.
Right. Cool. Just not dealing with the problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and let's go there then, because 35, 36 white males, right? And even though we didn't necessarily, I mean, I don't know what your upbringing was like, but you're, rural Ohio or whatever. I didn't grow up rich, but I had it all. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything has been there. If you look like us, life is so fucking easy. And it takes forever to get that through your head.
Yeah. It took a long time.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm still not aware of all the ways that I've just gotten through just because of the color of my skin. Yeah. And being a male.
I think falling in love, truly falling in love with a woman, is what really made me start to think about things in a different way. I had a lot of experience in my life falling in and out of love, so to speak, and dating different girls and all that kind of thing. But finding someone that I was just so impressed with and felt so close to, and realizing what she deals with every day just because she's a woman.
Oh yeah.
Is that was, I always thought I was aware, and then she came along and I went, oh shit, I am not aware at all. Right. Seeing the world through her eyes.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, again, it goes so deep that I don't even know how to even start talking about it. I'm sure there's like I said, I'm sure there's so many things that I don't even know of.
Yeah.
You know, but to look, you know, I was walking out of the hotel today thinking about that, and like all kinds of people passing by, walking in and out and stuff, and I was just like smiled and said hello to someone, and I was like, well, just me being able to do that, like smile and try to be friendly to someone, is something that like I can do because I'm a white male.
Wow.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
because if an African American male did that to someone, that could be taken in who knows what way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's advantages at every turn. Walking
Yeah.
into every restaurant, every bar, just living in this world, there's an advantage just being a white male.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with.
I don't know what to do either.
You know,
Because you don't want to, quote unquote, take advantage of it. You know what I
No.
mean? Like, I don't want to avail myself of that.
right.
Not that I don't. Now, see, that becomes like this kind of cyclical argument then.
Right.
And it's like, well, why not? I guess the thing to do with it is to use it, hopefully, for the benefit of a larger group of people.
That's what. Yeah, I think just trying to use use my voice to benefit. Yeah, exactly what you said. Benefit a larger group of people, and to look out for others, without like stepping on them or like taking credit or something, you know. But just being an ally.
Right. Yeah, ally's a good word.
Yeah.
I like that word a lot.
What are they? There's another like not crossing. It's not boundaries, but like crossing into where you're kind of like taking credit away or like taking away from somebody, you know. But it's a really, it's a really hard thing.
It
But
is.
it's not a hard thing at all.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's like the
yeah.
easiest thing in the world because we're white males.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can over-intellectualize it, right? So, you talk about NPR, you ever listen to Code Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a whole episode on that, about being an advocate or an ally.
Oh.
And when it's harmful and when it's helpful.
Right.
And so, but as I was listening to that, I was like, yeah, really into it, right? And then I was like, this is overly intellectualizing this whole thing, right? Like, I was really into it.
Right.
But then I stepped back and thought, wait a minute. If you're doing good work and you're trying to help people, you know, and not waving your, you know,
Right.
look at me, helpful flag.
Right.
But you're trying to do the right thing. I don't know what else I can do.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's somebody listening to this probably in a week going like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. And they're probably right.
They're probably right.
I'm sorry. And
Yeah, I'd like to apologize.
I promise I'm doing my best.
Yep.
You know, to be an ally for everybody, for humans in general.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
Well, Micah, thank you so much. I don't want to take any more of your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Great questions.
Thanks, man. Good. All right,
you.
I'm looking forward to the show. Anything in particular you're going to do? Do you have your set list figured out, or do you just wing it?
I've been playing pretty much the new record, and then doing some older stuff that, like requests and stuff that people want to hear at the end. Because
Yeah.
the record is 31 minutes long, and it takes me about 26 minutes to play it live. So
Oh, perfect.
So,
Good. I'm
yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. You know,
Cool.
I've heard you play the other stuff. I want to hear the new stuff.
Yeah.
Great. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. All right, let's see what we got.
Micah Schnabel of 2 Cow Garage, such an honor. Go check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Marinade Podcast, on Instagram, Marinade_podcast, Twitter @Marinade Podcast. Thank you so much for all your support. If you like our show, if you like what we're doing, go to iTunes and consider giving us a rating. It helps a ton. And even if you don't have anything to say necessarily, just clicking those stars in the positive direction makes a big difference for us. Check out Micah's work. I'm going to try to shut up so you can hear some of his music, but so grateful for his attention and time and thoughtfulness. Cheers, y'all.
Says this name tag that they make me wear, named after a grandfather that beat the shit out of my mother. I am living proof that not everybody counts. No, not everybody matters. Most nights I wanna toss these racks up candy bars and Advil out into the parking lot and set this place on fire. And take the money from the register as the pop 40 music still playing from the speakers, from the ceiling, and just go anywhere but here. And tell me, do you ever feel like your life is just happening to you, like nothing you say or do has ever really mattered? And tell me, do you ever feel like your life is just happening to you, like nothing you say or do has ever really mattered? Because I've never really mattered. Hello, my name is Henry. I am 28 years old, and I am a spectator in my own life. I am a spectator in my own life. Spectator in my own life. And tell me, do you ever feel like your life is just happening to you, like nothing you say or do has ever really mattered? And tell me, do you ever feel like your life is just happening to you, like nothing you say or do has ever really mattered? Has it ever really mattered? Because I've never really mattered.